When one of your first jobs is sharing the screen with the world's favorite web-slinger, you're bound to be a star. Part of the plan, with List admitting in a conversation with Brooke Shields for Interview magazine that she'd always been eyeing a performing career, and it was thanks to her mother that the actor got an opportunity to pursue her dream. She said, List said that her twin brother Spencer was approached first by local producers and that her mother lobbied hard to get her seen as well. She recalled, "My mom said, oh well, my daughter is the one who's always wanted to do it, and she kind of fought for me. So my mom is really the one that saw that I could do it." List would initially model in publications like American Girl and Justice, eventually appearing on screen in several uncredited roles. One of those uncredited gigs came in 2002 via a spot in the daytime soap opera As the World Turns. She'd go on to book roles in dozens of other film and television projects before finally entering the Miyagi-verse impressive list of titles. But if you go back all the way to the beginning of the actor's career, you might be shocked to see List followed her one-off spot on As the World Turns with a brief role in one of the biggest blockbusters of the early aughts, Sam Raimi's Spider-Man 2. Yes, List's role in the film is very much of the uncredited sort.
Yes, Mr. Spider-Man.
Brief as it is, the moment remains a memorable one in what is arguably the best Spider-Man movie to date. And even at such a young age, Peyton List's boundless charisma is well on display, because the young actor was front and center as young Jane throughout the film's opening flashback. 2 years later, credited as a younger version of Kate Hudson's Darcy in Something Borrowed. As it was, 2011 served as a bit of a breakthrough year for Peyton List. In film, she appeared as Holly Hills in the beloved Diary of a Wimpy Kid franchise. Adapted from the works of Jeff Kinney, said franchise began in earnest a year prior with the big screen adaptation of Diary of a Wimpy Kid. The first sequel, Diary of a Wimpy Kid Roderick Rules, followed in 2011, with List's kind-hearted Holly becoming a main player in the action after protagonist Greg Heffley develops a major crush on her. Though Holly and Greg were on very friendly terms by the film's end, that crush goes largely unrequited in Roderick Rules. Things, however, heat up between the pair in the 2012 follow-up, Diary of a Wimpy Kid, Dog Days. List sees a major jump in screen time during the Somerset threequel, with Holly and Greg becoming a full-blown couple by the time the credits roll. In case there was any question, their journey to coupledom is as hilarious as it is heartwarming, and List is an absolute joy to watch throughout. Circling back to 2011, it turns out that was also the year Peyton List landed what was then the biggest role of her career, fronting the Disney Channel hit Jessie. List didn't book the title role in the series, instead appearing as Emma Ross, a somewhat ditzy and fashionable eldest child of the family Jessie Prescott cares for. As the actor said in an interview with Pop Sugar, although there were some differences between her and the character she played on Jessie, the two share a love for fashion. List reprised her role as Emma for the 2015 Jessie spin-off, Bunked, and also appeared in other Disney shows Austin and Ally, KC Undercover, and I Didn't Do It. Guest appearances aside, List played Emma for 4 full seasons of Jessie. But as big a break as the role was, the actor admitted to Covertour in 2017 that she struggled with the fact that the general public tends to hold teen Disney stars to an almost impossible real-world standard. She said, "It's weird because Disney stars are normal teenagers. Everyone expects that because they have this show where everything is perfect. Bad things do happen, obviously, but I think they just expect them to be really conservative and always cover up and not really be who they truly are."
Look, I can't really chat right now because I've got some holes in my memory to fill.
Hey, well, that's why I'm here. I can totally help you fill your holes.
Excuse me?
Perhaps in an effort to show who she really is, after completing the 2016 Disney movie The Swap, List put considerable effort into distancing herself from her squeaky clean Disney image. During a 2021 chat with Interview magazine, she admitted that was tough in part because she'd spent so much time making rounds of Disney Channel fare. She'd forgotten how to audition, and ultimately needed to relearn how to keep calm during the process. Nevertheless, List found herself busy during her post-Disney career, quickly landing the lead in the independent film Anthem of a Teenage Prophet. The indie drama, which co-starred Shameless breakout Cameron Monaghan and Yellow Jacket star Juliette Lewis, was a heavier project that showcased her range beyond family-friendly Disney offerings. List has continued to surprise audiences since, including with her role as Tori on Cobra Kai. In a funny twist, according to List's comments to WWD, her Disney Pass helped her land the Cobra Kai role, as the creators of the Netflix hit apparently couldn't pass up the opportunity to cast a former Disney princess in one of the series' most emotionally complex roles. That gamble has officially paid off big time for everyone involved. Though she's undoubtedly best known as an actor at this point in her career, List spent much of her pre-Cobra Kai time carving out a secondary career in the music industry. While she'd been writing songs for years prior, List waited until she was 20 to drop her first single, 2018's breakup anthem Liar Liar. As she told Nylon in an interview coinciding with the release, she'd been holding off recording the song for a while because it took me a while to feel super confident and super proud of it. She said she also wanted to wait until her Disney days were behind her before pivoting to music, as she didn't want to be filed in with every other Disney star turned pop singer. List was probably wise to wait, as she's been able to work on her music completely on her own terms and without Disney-sized expectations. She has, however, only released a handful of singles and music videos to date, and with no new tracks since 2019, one can only assume her booming acting career is leaving little time for the recording studio these days. Thanks to her role on Cobra Kai, Peyton List is a name well respected in Hollywood circles today. But even if her name now conjures images of a talented child star transitioning to an adult career, it's worth noting that she's not the only Peyton List in town. In fact, one could easily argue the other Peyton List has had every bit as compelling a career to date, with that older actor booking notable roles in Mad Men, The Flash, Gotham, and The Rookie over the years. It's pretty rare that two actors forge ahead with the exact same name, as SAG-AFTRA rules tend to limit such issues. It's even rarer that two actors with the same name have the sort of success the Peyton Lists have had. And yes, it's almost unheard of that the two might end up on the same call sheet for any film or television project. Yet that's precisely what happened in a 2002 episode of As the World Turns, in which the two Peytons apparently appeared not just in the same episode, but the same scene. The two Peyton Lists joined the screen again together when both actors were credited for voice performances in the 2019 animated superhero hit Batman Hush.
Take care of your boss. Ugh, he's not my boss!
Sadly, the two do not share any scenes in Hush, with the elder List giving voice to the nefarious Poison Ivy and the younger voicing the butt-kicking Barbara Gordon, aka Batgirl. The film was adapted from a popular 2002 story arc from DC Comics that found the titular baddie using his shocking wealth of knowledge about Batman to wreak havoc on the man behind the mask and his allies. Hush debuted at the 2019 San Diego Comic-Con the day before its streaming release, and remains one of the best-loved of the recent Batman animated features. As for the younger List, she obviously is not fronting the action here, but her Batgirl does play a pivotal role in the overarching narrative, and given how strong List is in the role, one has to wonder why she's done so little voice work in the years since. List booked her Cobra Kai role the year before Batman Hush was released, but given that her Season 2 debut as Tori Nichols came when the series was still part of the YouTube Premium slate of original programming, it's not entirely shocking List landed the role, as she'd already starred in a pair of original films for the then-developing streaming service. Those films were 2016's The Thinning, and its 2018 sequel, The Thinning: New World Order. The young adult dramas are a sort of hybrid between The Hunger Games and The Purge, unfolding in a not-too-distant future in which overcrowding has led society to take extreme measures in population control. In this case, that means straight-up executing any and every student who fails to pass a certain standardized test. The films find List sharing the screen with the controversy courting Logan Paul, with their characters discovering and settling discrepancies in the fateful test, and eventually uncovering the ghastly government conspiracy behind the process. The Thinning films are hardly aspiring to high art, but the audience scores for both the original and its sequel are decent enough, so they might be worth a look if you're hot to do a deep dive on List's pre-Cobra Kai career. Then came Cobra Kai. The role of Tori Nichols has given Peyton List an opportunity to showcase her star power. As the actor told Screen Rant in 2020, she continues to have a lot of fun with the character in what she deems a dream job. She said, "It is the most fun role I've ever had the chance to play. And every day I'm just like, how did I get this and how am I here? I love this so much." That joy clearly comes across as List embodies every facet of the character's physical and emotional journey with disarming grace. Playing Tori has also given List an opportunity to develop legit martial arts skills, which she reportedly refines during workouts at a small private dojo, owned by the uncle of a friend. The actress said as well that she finds her Cobra Kai role empowering, as it forces her to train so heavily. And any Cobra Kai fan can attest that List puts those skills to extraordinary use during scenes that require her to speak with her fists.
Come on now. My sister always promised to take care of me. She taught you better.
Yeah, she taught me to recognize a low-class leech.
But the actor is arguably at her best on Cobra Kai when she's speaking with her voice. And considering her origins as a child model and Disney Channel star, List's transformation into a fully developed karate antagonist has proven quite an unexpected, if most welcome, surprise indeed.